Battle of Tippermuir, now spelled Tibbermuir, in Perth and Kinross, Old Perthshire, about 3 miles outside of the city of Perth, which is through those trees. This was the Marquis of Montrose, his first battle of the 44 campaign, which was then going to become into the 1645 and the annus mirabilis, the year of miracles, and all of his victories. He'd been promised thousands and thousands of Irish troops, but actually met with about 1,800, reinforced them with Highland clans, including his own clan. Clan Graham was marshalled by the Covenanters, who were supporting Parliament against King Charles I, and they'd marched against him, turncoat, and joined him. As he'd come down from Blair Athol, which is just over those snow-topped hills, the men of Athol had joined him, but he stood here with good army, about 2,000 men plus, motivated for the King Charles, but with barely a shot of musket between them. It goes that Montrose, when he gathered his force down in the church, down in that valley, he was given a glass of water by the minister, which I'll come to, and he addressed his troops, saying that what they must do is either take up one of these stones from the ground and bash out the Covenanters' brains with it, or they must fire their muskets into the face of the enemy and then take their swords. So they were really out-armed. There is debate whether they fought north-south or east-west, but most sources said that they probably fought along this latitude, facing in towards the old Gallows Road, which is the road down in that ditch and following into Perth. And it seems a logical conclusion given the route of march. They lined up. The Covenanters, mostly militia from the lowlands, especially in Perth, formed up on opposing them. They did have a few cannon and a few hundred cavalry. Montrose himself probably only had 3, that's a single 3 of horse. When the skirmishers came out, though, the Irish came further forth under Alistair MacDonald, Irishman of a Scottish clan. They fired their shot, sent the skirmishers running. Now, Alistair MacDonald had perfected the Highland charge, many centuries old, but what they did, rather than just charging all the way in, is they stop just in front of the enemy, fire a charge. Some of them had bows, some of them had stones in the ground, fired that into the face of the enemy, broke their ranks in wedges through and into the second line. Seeing this, Montrose and his commanders swept up. Montrose, probably on this high ground himself here, took forwards, and then they went straight through the enemy lines. Apparently very few casualties caused in the first fight, but so many hundreds caused in the second that on the Gallows Road you could walk on the backs of the fallen Covenanters into the city centre without having to step on the earth. That started his year of miracles, but it was here at Tippermuir that the Marquis of Montrose started his campaign for the King and for King Charles in Scotland.